Well, hey everybody, Grooves Blues Reviews here. Sorry, it's been a while since I've posted something. Actually, I'm feeling kind of cruddy right now, a little under the weather, but feeling also cruddy too after what happened, of course, last night with the stage was set, everything was ready to go, and the Blues had a chance to claim the Stanley Cup for the first time in franchise history, and at home. And I was at that game, and I was there with my dad, and was hoping for it to be the a great ending, almost like a storybook ending, so to speak. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And that's sports, that's hockey for you, and we just gotta go on from there. Had a lot of great experiences with this ride up to this point, and with the great games that I saw, and the great games that other people who got to use my tickets, got to see. So it's been an awesome ride, and all of these great things going on in the playoffs for the Blues, and we've arrived to a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals, and it's unbelievable that we're here. I know that for a lot of you, it's probably very disappointing. They should have done it last night, and you believe that they're going to lose in Game 7 in Boston. And then there's also a lot of you that may not think that, and may think that the Blues still have a chance. But we're tied at 3. We're going into a Game 7, and it's a Game 7. It's anybody's game, to be honest with you. But up to this point in the series, it's a closer series than a lot of analysts and a lot of people thought. I think, including a lot of people in Boston. Maybe those who knew hockey really well thought it was going to be a closer series, but I think a lot of people in Boston thought that St. Louis was going to be a pushover. And of course, as we saw, that's not the case. But although you look at this series, and I mean, some things that come to mind. First off, of course, the Blues are way outmatched in their special teams. Although it would have been great if they would have got that first goal last night and it'd be a shorthander by O'Reilly, but that didn't happen. But the Blues power play just continues to just be a mess. And they've done some good in killing off penalties, but that Boston power play is something special, and they also have a good penalty kill, but that power play is definitely something special. You look at it so far. The Blues in their victories, they win 3-2 in overtime. They win 4-2 in Game 4, and then in Game 5 they win 2-1. Boston in their wins, you look there. Besides the 4-2 win in Game 1, it was 7-2 in Game 3 and 5-1 in Game 6. And those are some lopsided scores, those last two. I really don't blame Bennington for any of those. I think that he still has played well enough in net for us to win. It's been the guys in front, and also too, once again, inconsistency, not bringing that game. I think that up to this point, the series has showed you that the Blues seem to be so far the better team 5-on-5, and Boston, of course, the more dominant team on the special teams. And so going into Game 7, that's going to be one of the key things, is how much are the Blues going to allow Boston to get on the power play, and then how much is it going to be 5-on-5 play. But secondly, what kind of game are the Blues going to bring in Game 7? If they can bring the game that they played in Game 4, especially in Game 4 at home, and the game that they brought in the latter stages that helped them to win Game 2 in overtime, and also a good portion of Game 5, they've got a great shot to win. And I got to say that, in most Game 7s in the playoffs, even this is the Stanley Cup Finals, I wouldn't give the Blues much of a chance, but I think you should give them a chance. I really, really do. This team has bounced back. They're relentless. And, it's a Game 7. Boston's going to bring it on. They're going to pour it all on, too. Absolutely. It's going to be a fun game. I hope it is. I hope it's the only way I would hope it would be lopsided is if the Blues were on the winning end and you gained a bunch of goals. But I just have a feeling it's going to be one heck of a game. And I just don't think you should count the Blues out. Like I said, they've bounced back all season long. And I just feel that they are the better team so far in this series, 5-on-5. And when they're physical, when they're playing hard, and when they check and they cycle, they're a really good team, and they're an effective team, and they're a team that can beat Boston. But I can't make a prediction on this Game 7. I thought it was going to end in six, but it didn't, and that's kudos to Boston. They played a heck of a game, but also too in that game six, the Blues did not bring their A game at all. They did not bring the game that won them game four, won them game five, and game two. They just did not hit, and it looked like that they were worried about something, worried about suspensions. I don't know. Maybe some of the pressure got to them. I don't know. We don't really know any of that. We don't know what was going on in the psychology of that of that team at that time and going into that game. But that's all history, and now it's a game seven, and anything can happen. So I don't like to predict game sevens, but all I'm saying is don't lose the faith. This Blues team is a relentless team. They're a great team 5-on-5, and I think they're going to bring it strong, and they're going to have a good showing in this game. But again, it's a game seven, and it's Boston's time as well too. They're going to bring it, and it's going to be two teams battling it out, and it's going to be very fun. It's going to be very interesting. I know that a lot of people would say, well, really, besides just whether or not the Blues allow Boston on the power play or not, and 5-on-5, how much of that playing, I think everyone's going to look at, well, what about the goaltending situation? Tuukka is the better goaltender. Tuukka Rask is absolutely. But when you look at this series, looking at the numbers, up to this point right now, both goalies, of course, 3-3. Tuukka Rask has had 173 shots against, 160 saves for a .925 save percentage. Great save percentage, and of course, overall, in this whole playoffs, he's done very well. Bennington, he's had 172 shots against, so one less than Tuukka's faced. He's made 155 saves, so 5 less saves than Tuukka, and he's got a .901. So he's got a .901 save percentage versus Tuukka's .925. So not that far off. Both goalies have had some great saves. Both goalies have played well. And the thing is, going into this series was I really think a lot of people were kind of worried, and also analysts were thinking the Blues weren't going to get to Tuukka Rask, and they did. But as Bennington stole Game 5, Tuukka played a role in stealing Game 6. The one thing in Game 6 to keep in mind is that the Blues didn't really challenge Tuukka as much as they could have. He saw a lot of shots. There were a lot of chances, but they shot it right into him. But you know what? He made the saves that he needed to make, and when you're a goaltender, that's all you got to do. The biggest one was his ability to reach behind his back and keep that puck from going in when it hit off the post and hit his back, and finding a way to help out with keeping that puck out. If I would have been watching it on TV instead of there and would have saw it because it was on the opposite end of where I was sitting at the Enterprise Center, I think at that point I'd been like, man, I don't know. But I kept the faith all the way through until that second goal scored on Bennington in the third period, and it just seemed like, oh, it's going to go down from here, and it did go downhill. So anyway, that's kind of where things are at. Those are my observations. Is basically I don't see any reason. Bennington, he bounces back. He has a good track record of bouncing back from losses. I see him having a good game, just as good of a game or better as Tuukka Rask. And the Blues are going to bring it. There can't be any other suspensions from here on out. It's Game 7, Stanley Cup Finals. You'd pretty much have to take someone's head off in order, I think, for a suspension to carry into next year. But as long as the Blues stay out of the penalty box, don't get any, especially 5-minute majors or game misconducts, they're going to have Barbashev back. I think you take Thomas back out, you put Barbie back in, put Blais back up where he belongs. This team has shown, that they're the sum of all parts. When Sundqvist was suspended, the Blues didn't play a good game. And Barbie, he was out. Blues didn't play a good game. So it really shows that all these parts really are intertwined. They intermingled together to make this team one full unit that can really do some damage when they're together and when they're on. And they will be on, I believe, come Game 7 on Wednesday night. And I just think don't sleep on the Blues. Don't think that they're out of this. Don't think that it's an automatic loss. They definitely have a really, really good chance in this game. But like I said, I just don't want to predict Game 7s because you just never know what can happen. It's a Game 7 and all is on the line, and a lot of different things can happen. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. I have confidence in the Blues to do it, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So, Blues fans, who would have thought we would have got to this point? It's been an exciting ride so far. We've got one more game to go here in this exciting ride, and hopefully it's a great ending. But we're just going to have to wait and see. But it's going to be fun. So Let's go Blues. Thank you for all of you who have followed me up to this point on my channel, watching these videos. It's been really fun up to this point. And of course, hopefully you'll be watching and following along with between period updates coming up in the final game. So take care, Blues fans, and until Wednesday night, and let's go Blues.